Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Tenpai Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. This is one of the new decks that we got from the Legacy of Destruction booster set. A really awesome dragon deck that focuses on being able to summon out these big dragon boss monsters. One that actually works very well with the deck is Trident Dragion, but it has become an extremely expensive card since the release of this deck. So hopefully we do see a reprint in the future, whether it will be in the Rarity Collection 2 or the OTS pack that is set to come out in June. Hopefully, because it is, very close to $100 for one card needed for what otherwise is a fairly budgeted deck with all the low rarities for the Tenpai Dragons in the booster set. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. We only have a couple Tenpai Dragons so far, but we will be getting more in the Infinite Forbidden booster set, but we'll make do with what we have for now. We're running 3 copies of Tenpai Dragon Shundra. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves. Synchro summon using this card you control. You can only use the following effects of Tenpai Dragon Shundra once per turn. If you control a Fire Dragon monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. At the start damage step, if a monster battles, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Fire Dragon from your deck, except for Tenpai Dragon Shundra. So this setup for all of your other Tenpai Dragons definitely does come in handy for you to be able to set up your synchro summons, with one of our main ones being Tenpai Biden Dragon, a level 7, which can be easily summoned with Shundra and one of the other level 3 non-tuners we summon out into the field, and then being able to use those additional resources with our Biden Dragon also being a synchro to use an additional level 3 to summon out our Tenpai Transcendent Dragion onto the field also. So 3 copies of Shundra, you'll find that just it's consistent for those numbers to always have an easy special summonable monster onto the field as well. And then also the 3 copies of Tenpai Dragon Fadra. If it's normal or special summon or at the start of damage step, if a monster battles, you can target one level 4 lower Fire Dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect of Tenpai Dragon Fadra once per turn. And your Fire Dragon monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during the battle phase, quick effect, you can immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. So having another quick effect synchro play means that you can utilize it with the higher level synchros that I mentioned before as that added resource with those cards as well. Having the special summon option from the graveyard to then set up these lower level monsters with their initial synchro summon effect as well. With the last of the main deck Tenpai Dragons being Tenpai Dragon Pydra. I only have the one, sadly for now, but there's definitely another 3 of. I have some Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragons as placeholders for it, for an additional 3 of copy of this other level 3 non-tuner dragon. If it's normal or special summon, you can add to your hand or set 1 Sangan Spell or Trap from your deck. You can only use this effect of Tenpai Dragon Pydra once per turn. You take no battle damage from battles involving your Fire Dragon monsters, and once per turn during the battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card, having the initial set up for your spell as well, Sangan Summoning, which is a very important field spell for your Fire Dragon setup as well, but also just this play style of being able to protect yourself from battle damage involving Fire Dragon monsters as well adds for a little bit more defense to the initial offensive play style of the Transcendent Dragion and other synchro monsters you have. And then for more of the generic support, 1 copy of Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. You have the Destruction play, and also just being able to use Blaster with the other Tenpai Dragons as easy banish fodder to summon it back onto the field, being the easy level 7 to use for other resources. And then also the 2 copies of Hida the Fire Chandler. This card's always treated as a Charmer card. And you can discard this card with another Fire monster to add 1 Fire monster from your deck to your hand with higher attack than the other discarded monsters. So depending on the card you discard and set up, you could just go for a stronger after stronger monster with your Shundra, Fadra, and then your Pydra, and also being able to have an initial search for the higher attack than the discarded monster, being able to also search out cards like Blaster. And then just for a little more dragon support, but also being able to disrupt your opponent, I run 1 copy of the initial quick effect banish Bysteals as well. 1 Saronir, 1 Magnat, 1 Baldrake, and 1 Druisworm. You have some other bigger synchro plays if you wish to go into with these plays as well, like our Tenpai Transcendent Dragon being a level 10 monster, needing 1 Dragon Tuner and 1 non-tuner Dragon monster, and the Bysteals being level 6 monsters. You could use them in turn with just the level 4 tuner Shundra to get out the level 10 synchro without having to go into your level 7 Tenpai Biden Dragon. And then lastly, for the main deck monsters, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, just a good hand trap lineup to run, along with Infinite Impermanence, while it's not really interfering with your Synchro lineup for your summoning of your main deck monsters to go into your extra deck. Moving on now to the spells, running 3 copies of Sangan Summoning. The field spell during your main phase, you can during your main phase 1, fire dragon monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. And during your main phase, you can add 1 Tenpai dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. You can only use this effect of Sangan Summoning once per turn. And if this card is destroyed during the battle phase, you can target 1 dragon synchro monster you control and double its attack. So added power up to your dragon synchro monsters, already being quite powerful to begin with, and having that initial strength just enhanced thanks to your field spell. And another card that has Sangan in its name, and that is Sangan Kaiman. You apply one of these effects, or if you activate this card during the battle phase, you can apply any of them in sequence. Add 1 level 4 or lower dragon fire monster from your deck to your hand, and special summon 1 fire dragon monster from your hand. So you can then add that fire dragon monster and then special summon it onto the field, and then have that quick play action with your monster to then be able to go into your bigger synchro monsters during the battle phase. And also for some of the more generic spells, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent for more interaction on your opponent's part if they were to use a monster effect against you. 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity for more search power, and we do run multiples for a good majority of the different dragons, so more banish costs to use also. And also 2 copies of Crossout Designator, Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, anything you could try and stop against your opponent, even Triple Tactics Talent that they may have against you using this card. And for the 1-ofs for the spells, 1 copy of Terraforming to have Sangan Summoning as just another search, 1 copy of Call by the Grave, and also 1 Monster Reborn. And then for the traps, I run 3 copies of Metaverse, just having more search power for Sangan Summoning, just like with the Terraforming lineup, and 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just another Crossout Designator target, and another hand trap to use alongside Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Moving on now to the X deck for the Senpai or Genpai dragons in the X deck. 3 copies of Sagenpai Bident Dragon, needing 1 Dragon Tuner and 1 non-tuner dragon monster. If this card's synchro summon, you can target 1 fire dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn, except for dragon monsters. And then with this card also having the setup to go into your level 10 monster as well. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Then you can destroy 1 set spell or trap on the field. You can only use this effect of Bident Dragon once per duel, and its previous effect only once per turn. So this is where Trident Dragon really does come into play with your cards needing those 3 attacks for a good majority of these attacks to resolve. That's why it's very disappointing that we need such an expensive card to work with such a budget-friendly deck. If we do get the reprint for Trident Dragon, I'll show you what synchro monster you can take out for it, or even if you happen to have it. That's why I don't include it in the deck today, because there are just going to be probably a majority of people that don't have the card and just want to build the deck without Trident Dragon to rely on. And also 2 copies of Sagenpai Transcendent Dragon. All monsters your opponent control must attack. If able, your opponent cannot activate card effects during the battle phase. If this card's synchro summon, you can change all monsters on the field to attack position. And if 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Then you can destroy 1 card on the field. So more elimination and setup for your own cards while going up against your opponents. The other synchros I run are the 1 copy of Red Wyvern. This would be, or could be, Trident Dragon. It's just more of a generic level 6 option in the deck, and most of the time I have to make it anyway with the Ash Blossom summon and then another, Tenpai Dragon on the field to go into, but more of a generic Dragon Synchro, but this would be Trident Dragon otherwise. The 1 copy of Ancient Fairy Dragon, and also the 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon, with our Link monsters being the 1 Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, the 1 Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 SP Little Knight, and the 1 Cross Sheep, with our bigger Link monsters being 1 Borreload and the 1 Saryuja. You don't go into the Link monsters often. This is more of a synchro deck, but I like to have the added options to go into these cards if we have some of the more bigger numbers with our Bisteel monsters. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, like I said, the Tenpai Dragon cards really do help to set up themselves quite easily. Like Sangan Summoning during your main phase, you can, Fire Dragons are unaffected by your opponent's activate effects. During your main phase, you can add 1 Tenpai Dragon from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. So you can have your easy search for Shundra, and then if you have to discard another card, at least you have your dragon set up with this card as well. And then being able to, if you control a Fire Dragon monster, special summon this card from your hand. So with that play, you can have one of your other Tenpai dragons, let's say, on the field as well. Special summon out your Shundra, and then you have the level 7 synchro play to go into from there, summoning out your Biden Dragion when it's synchro summoned, targeting that other dragon monster, which will be the Fadra, since it's the level 3 non-tuner, in the graveyard. And then you have the attack option with these cards and the quick effect play to then go into a bigger level 10 dragon monster, which could be Trident Dragion if you had it. Otherwise, we'll be going into the Sagan Pi Transcendence Dragon, instead being able to make it so your opponent's monsters switch to attack position and they have to attack into this 3000 attack, 3000 defense monster. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. It's one of the new decks from the Legacy of Destruction booster set, which I see will have a lot more people interested in the deck if we do manage to get a reprint of Trident Dragion. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.